Most people thought I was losing my mind, but that change, losing my mind, became the portal to a 7-figure life. It brought me 7 figures, magazine features, deep love, confidence more than ever, and a life that feels exciting and exactly mine. Now, I want to share with you in this video my story of a complete breakdown to how I used all of those lessons to build this incredible life I live today and how you can do the same. I want to share with you the hundreds of people I have worked with and how they have also used these principles to heal themselves and build the lives that are theirs. So whether you want more money, more impact, whether you've always felt like there's something inside of you that just doesn't feel quite right because something's been missing, right? Maybe you want more love in your life, right? You want more confidence, a better body, better health. This video is going to truly help you and guide you. So I'm going to riff a little bit here. Let's go back in time to 2020, April, to what most people would call a spiritual awakening. When I turned 30, pretty much a couple of weeks after in April, I had a full breakdown, okay? But before the breakdown, there was a good amount of bliss, this joy, this intense aliveness and presence that you can't describe with words. And how did I even get there, right? I was doing a few things. I was meditating a lot, having a lot of walks in nature. I saw my parents arguing and fighting again. And my father was looking at me deep in the eyes and crying about their argument. And I remember, because of the spiritual work I was doing, I saw my father so present and alive for the first time. And for the very first time, I didn't see him as my dad, but I saw him as a human. And what that did, that intense presence in the moment, okay, cracked something open in me where I just felt this energy rise, like shoot up from my spine, up to the top of my head, this lightness, the wave of lightness. And I was like, holy moly, like what's going on? And I was smiling and happy and liberated. And I couldn't explain what was going on, but I remember going onto Facebook, right, and sharing live, like, guys, like, I gotta share this with you. Something is happening inside of me. I have no idea what, but I know this is big. And as I jumped on, right, a lot of people was like, Jared, like, are you okay? What is going on with you? Like, this is weird, right? And looking back in retrospect, what I noticed was that I had been carrying 30 years, this version of Jared that was acceptable in society. Right? I built up this version of Jared that on all majority of levels, I was fit, healthy, right? And I looked the part, I was doing good work. Like it seemed like I had everything together. And I realized right now is most people live life this way. They have their lives, they look on the outside, they've got it together, they're smiling, they're kind of presenting. But what's actually happening underneath the surface, there's deep pain. Okay, but let's go backwards. So I had this bliss moment, but very shortly after, I had a full breakdown. 30 years of armoring, of protection, of building Jared to be this person, right, collapsed right in front of me. And in this moment, because this whole identity that I was trying to armor up and create, right, disappeared, suddenly, life force, life energy, people, different traditions, chi energy, prana, right? Different, like this life force energy, boom, was finally coming through, was turned on, alive, okay? Now, I had to go through a dark night of the soul, really just clearing all this stuff. But for the first time, I was meeting face to face with my traumas, the deep shames, all these rooted shames that I had been shoving away for years. And since helping hundreds of people heal and step into their power, I've realized that majority of the population lives life the same way, hiding the shame away, putting it inside a box, pretending it doesn't exist. Now, if you're listening to me, right, you might be thinking, oh shit, like this is like getting a bit real and raw, like this is uncomfortable, right? I'm gonna invite you to come in here with me, be on this journey with me. Because if you lean in this entire video, right? This is a transmission of energy that can shift a state, like deep state inside of you, and has the power to shift your world. It shifted mine, and I know it can shift yours too. It's also shifted hundreds of people's lives. So, back to this awakening, I realized how much shame I was carrying. Shame around how I grew up, the chaos, the violence I grew up in, around being shamed for my body, for my ethnicity, for my sexuality. Okay, shame around my worthiness, feeling like I wasn't okay to be loved as I am, that I'm not worthy of love, right, at the core. So many years of hiding myself behind these successes to go, hey, if I'm successful enough, right, I've already have won gold in powerlifting, by the way. I've already, had multiple degrees, a great career. I've already been a personal trainer, nutritionist, helping a lot of people around the world. But I was like, and being a musical theater performer, I thought if I just created enough success, then maybe I could run away from myself. But very quickly, I realized that is not true. You cannot outrun your shame. You cannot outrun your feelings. Your success, no matter how good your body gets, no matter if you get into a relationship, no matter how much money you make in your business, you cannot outrun your shame. Okay, hear that again. You cannot outrun your shame. You can't outrun your truth. But by instead running away, turning 30, I turned inwards. I actually went inside of myself and started to heal, started to feel, started to go there. And by unraveling all these stories, all the stuff that have happened, and started to shift it one step at a time through different modalities, right? Therapy, breathwork, deeper meditation, right? Coaching, mentorship. I became a whole new person. And what I realized in this time was, as I developed, was how much I wanted, like a soul calling to help others. Like I knew that it was put on. I didn't go through all these dark things, difficult times in my life and got to where I was just for myself. I went through all that to heal other people, to be a life force of light in this world, to shine like, hey, if you want freedom, here it is. Like this is possible for you too, right? And from there, I started first helping the LGBTQ community, like fall in love with their bodies, to release body shame. Right? And when I started to get up and close with people working through their body shames, right, I very quickly realized how much of those same shame patterns existed in every single one of my clients. And these clients, by the way, we've had all sorts of people. We're talking high-level doctors, engineers, business owners, CEOs. We're talking teachers, professors. We're talking salespeople, artists, singers, right, filmmakers, right, writers, actors, nurses, so many different professions, chefs, right, waiters, so many different professions, all walks of life. But what I found was these same shame patterns, right, that existed in each one of them. Now, why I'm sharing this with you is not so much like, hey, I'm incredible, these guys are incredible. It is for you to realize that no matter where you are at on your journey, how far you've gone, I promise you this work will completely free you. It's going to blow your mind. Okay? So let's go further. If you want to liberate yourself, you want more money, more success, more wealth, more freedom, more joy, more fulfillment, more health, more vitality, this will help and heal you. Let me breathe for a second. These shameful patterns, right, that exist in all of us, in different shades, different forms, right? I've noticed that you cannot carry a backpack of shame into your dream life. You cannot hold on to your shame on your back, not look at it, not let it go, and go towards the life that you are meant to live. And some of these shames, I'm going to give you a few examples. Your body is not okay. Okay, that's not true, by the way, but it's a shame you may carry. Your body is not okay. You're always going to be out of shape, unfit. Okay, you're not fit enough. Okay, you're always going to maybe be the fat kid, right? Be the chubby kid. That's what I was. You're unattractive. Okay, you don't look good enough. Potential shames. Other potential shames. It's bad for you to earn money. It's bad for you to earn more. Right? It's bad for you to, like, money is meant for other people, but not meant for you. Okay? It's bad for you to ask for that promotion. It's bad for you to receive more clients, receive more revenue inside of your business. Okay? Maybe you feel shame around receiving compliments. Someone compliments you and you're like, "Ugh!" You freeze up, you feel this tightness in your chest, contraction, push it away. That sort of energy, right? Shame. Again, shame. It's like, hey, you can't receive compliments, right? Because on some level, you feel like receiving compliments is icky, it's uncomfortable. Shame. If you feel like you're not worthy of love, then maybe if you were to... By the way, as I riff all of these things, I know this inside out because I've lived that for many years. I've come on to the other side, but I've also lived it. And I've helped a lot of gay men move through these too, on different walks of life. Now, you might have shames around love life. Like, hey, if I am to be my true self, people would run 1,000,000 miles. People won't love me, right? I am not worthy of love. Or maybe you have shames around like your past relationships. I had this relationship, it didn't work out, so that means something's wrong with me. I can't hold a relationship. Maybe you project the shame outwards, like, hey, all gay guys are assholes, or there's no good guys out there, right? You project, you push it out. So there's shame around that, your worthiness of being loved. Right? Shame around your emotions. Right? So maybe you have insecurities and fears and you feel bad for having these feelings, right? That's shame on top of shame. And you feel bad for feeling bad. Okay? Now, all of these shames, I'm going to speak very directly with you now. They protected you. They helped you survive at a younger age. Okay? They helped you. But they no longer serve you anymore. All these shames you've been carrying on your backpack, it's time to let them go. When I shifted these, right, started to really let go of these shames, go within and heal myself, okay, this is when all the best things in life started to flood in. The best people, opportunities, magazine features, money, the best clients, right, love, right, people smile at me when I'm on the streets, like good things just started to snowball into my life in beautiful ways. Okay. Now, I don't want to invite you into releasing shame in order to get the good things right. I want you just to see releasing shame being good for you because it's going to make you lighter. When you are lighter as a human, right, light can pour in, right? When you're holding on, like gripping on to pain, gripping on to shame, and you're masking it by smiling, you're putting a happy sticker on an empty fuel gauge, life can't move through you. And life is designed to move through you, okay? And you have the capability to touch this electricity of life force. It exists for every single human on this planet. You are not an exception to this rule. Okay, you're not an exception to a life principle. Okay, the only thing you can do though is get so convicted by holding on to your shame, trying to protect yourself and guard yourself in survival mechanism, right? Fight and flight response, high cortisol, stress response, hormones rising in your body, right? You're tight. You can do that and you can shove away that natural energy. You can shove away the life force. Because what I realized was that in my 30 years, I have felt that life force, this energy, this beautiful force flooding through before. I just wasn't allowing it to fully flow because of the shame. Now let's go to the better side of things. Let me just have a quick look at some of my notes here. By the way, as you're watching this, I would love for you to drop in the comments, right? What is resonating with you? What is hitting home with you? Like, what are the stories that you can think of, right? That's happened in your life that you're holding on to. I want to give you a caveat too, by the way. People who feel triggered by this, if you feel triggered, that's not a bad thing. That's actually a green light. What I've noticed over the years, the more I've helped people, is that your triggers, when you feel like a trigger of like tensing, I don't like what this guy's saying, I feel uncomfortable with this, that is actually a green light. Because when we feel triggered, all that is happening is that there is an old story, an old belief, an old knowing, subconscious pain in the background that my words right now is touching on, right? So you see someone, maybe you see someone, give you an example of a client that I worked with, okay? He was bullied as a younger self by these jocks, these athletes. And he had this idea that if he were to get fitter and in shape, he's gonna become an asshole, just like these guys. Okay, so anytime when he saw like an Instagram guy like showing off his body, he had like this like repulse, like this disgust in his body, like, this is like too much, that's gross, he's an asshole, right? But for whatever reason, by listening to me, what I've been speaking about, the deeper work, right? It's like, okay, this guy, he's showing his body, but he's also talking about all this other stuff. Like there's something different about him. We started this conversation. Anyway, he became an incredible client. We started to work together. When we helped him dismantle this belief that for him to get in shape, he will become an asshole too, that these jocks and athletes, the way they treated him doesn't make all fit people assholes, right? Which makes sense. He was like, oh wow, okay, wait a second, this is mind-blowing. I can actually be fit, healthy, strong, and be a kind, compassionate person. That is possible. I don't need to shrink myself. I don't need to play small. Holy moly. Guess what happened? He lost 25 pounds and got in the fittest shape of his life. Okay? But at first, by the way, he said this to me too. He said, Jared, in the beginning when I first saw you, I was heavily triggered by you, right? So many, like just a lot of your stuff was like triggering me. And I realized that if I reached out to you earlier, like this wouldn't have worked because I was too triggered, right? I wasn't ready for the work. But when people say like when you're ready for the teacher, shows up. That's what he said, right? I showed up, like he was like ready for the work. But the reason why I shared this with you, right, is that your triggers is a green light. If you're willing to go there and go touch on that shame, go touch that, like go there, it's actually going to be the most freeing thing you can do. The reverse is also true though, is that when you have these triggers and you run away from it, right, you're like, it's okay, I don't want to go there, I'm just going to put it in a box, pretend it doesn't exist. You will have to face the same lesson over and over and over again until you move past it. Okay, just by ignoring a trigger doesn't make it disappear. Just keep that in mind. Okay, back to riffing here. Breathe with me. So, you can have shame, right? Around your body, around your love, around money, around your spirituality, okay? Around your feelings, about your worth. But what I realized, when you release your shame, one shame, let's say you get better with your body, like this guy, for example, right? Release body shame, started to feel more worthy. His relationship, his sex life, guess what? Got better, okay? Best sex of his life. He also went from charging in his business, right? From around a few hundred, just under $1,000 for his coaching packages to over 5,000, okay? 5,000. Because he felt more worth in himself. He started to value himself more. When you value yourself at one deep level, you make a fundamental qualitative shift. All these other domino effects happen, right? Gonna give you a quick another story with another guy. Another client of mine spent 40 years, thinking that his body wasn't okay. He's tried diets, therapy, different workouts, different trainers, but never built the body he wanted. But what he realized, he didn't go do all three at the same time. Okay, work on his physique, work on his nutrition, work on his mental game, work on his emotions, like the full game, full scenario. We did the full deep dive, right? He lost over 60 pounds, and best shape of his life, okay? He was single, by the way, but I started attracting beautiful humans into his life, partners, okay? Again, sex life improved. His business revenues tripled, okay? Had more time freedom than ever, okay? Because why? Fundamental qualitative shift of shame into power, Now, this is why I want you to hear this. If anything you can get from this video is the most important work that you can do as a human is to evolve. Okay, as a human is to release the shame. Okay, number one, that's a big piece. But there's a second piece, which is so important, is to step into your power. Okay, step into your power. And we do both at the same time. Inside the Darren Academy, it is a space for humans just like you, who feel like, hey, I've got more in me. I know there's so much joy, so much love yet to give. I know that I can love myself more. There's a body that I can see in my mind's eye that just hasn't happened just yet, right? I know I'm capable of love. I just haven't done it yet. I know that I desire financial freedom and I want that. I just haven't been able to fully tap into that yet, okay? So we release the shame around your past or the old stories that don't serve you. We embody, okay, this powerful version of you. What does that version of you that is fit, healthy, strong, sexy feel like? What is that version of you that can hold a beautiful, loving relationship? What does he feel like? What is that version of you that can make so much money and serve so many people, make a positive contribution in this world by using your gifts? What does that version of you look and feel like? What is that version of you that has so much freedom, able to travel the world, time freedom, all this stuff? What does that version of you look and feel like? Okay? Now, here are a few ways that I work with people, right, inside the Darren Academy. Okay, inside my one-on-one private mentorship, business clients, okay, we can help you really shift as a human, move through the shame, integrate those parts of you that you've been pushing aside, heal at the deepest level, step up in your identity. Okay, this is a big part. By the way, I don't accept people into our community where you just we don't just reloop shame. We don't just talk about your body shame and pains over and over again. We take you to where you want to go. Because the whole point of this is that you become this lighthouse where you what we call transmute your shame into power, right? We turn your shameful stories, what I did, into rocket fuel that takes you where you want to go. Okay, my body shame became rocket fuel to create the body of my dreams that landed me on DNA magazine, landed me onto QWERTY, into fitness commercials. My shame around my ability to be loved transmuted into a beautiful marriage of over 6 years now. Okay, my shame around money, right? Around my ability to receive money and charge more and serve more people and help people and be of service to the world that shame was transmuted to over 7 figures and hundreds of lives changed and waking up with fulfillment, like, yes, let's go live life. I am excited to live. That changed, that transformed, okay? Shame around my spirituality, shame around my feelings, right? Transmuted into just expression, where Jared can just live, like, hey, let's just be alive, okay? So my question for you now, as you're listening to this, drop in the comments, what are the light bulb moments that have been coming up for you? What are the shameful stories that's been coming up that, as I've been speaking, touched on? You're like, oh, this happened to me too, right? I felt shame around this as well. What are the things that your heart desires? Okay, because you can have shames around your desires, like, I'm not worried. I want the body. I want to feel sexy, right? But I don't want to be this vain, arrogant prick, just like my previous client, right? I want to make more money, but I don't want to be evil. I don't want to be greedy, right? I want to be seen as a bad person, right? So your desires, if you let all those shame go and you just went into what your heart is truly saying to you, like what your heart is wanting to, like life force wanting to flow through you, what are those desires? Those desires have been planted on your heart for a reason. Those desires have been planted on your heart because you are meant to have this beautiful life. You are meant to have the life of your dreams. And my biggest mission, okay, is to help you free yourself. Give yourself the opportunity to love, to feel free, to live a life of freedom. In order for you to do that, both parts of the work need to happen. But I can promise you, I've seen this over and over again now. These two guys, right? I've got hundreds of case studies. If you jump into my YouTube channel, you can see a lot of those stories. The guys who wanted to have their stories out in public. A lot of our guys want to keep it private. That's okay, that's cool too. But I just want you to know that you are not alone. Right now, you may feel like you're different, right? Like you're a special person with your special problems. I can promise you, we have far more in common. You and I and all these incredible humans that have transformed their lives have far more in common than you may realize. And don't let these shames and let these fears hold you back. Don't let these shames and fears clip your wings. Let's restore your wings and let you fly, because that's what you're meant to do. And if you want to explore how you can work with me, by the way, I'm going to attach in the video, the YouTube video, a form. It's a very short, quick form where you can put in your dreams, your desires, your fears, what's been going on, right? Share that with me. It literally takes about 5-6 minutes, okay? I'll have a read of it, and if we're a good fit, I will reach out to you to see whether you can plug into the Darren Academy as an elite one-on-one client, okay? There's also a bunch of other resources that I can send your way, right? If you go into my YouTube channel, there's specific sections on love and wealth and body transformation. My Instagram, there's a lot of content there as well. You're ready to rise. If you're feeling something with me right now, you're feeling something stirring in your heart, like that you can't quite put into words, but you can feel it. I invite you to go there. Your feelings. I trust my deeper wisdom more than my logical mind. And just for insight, by the way, humble brag, I am a Menzen, okay? Meaning I have went through a scientific, an IQ test environment where I was sitting in a room with a lot of other people who did this test, went into the top 2% for IQ, meaning high IQ, smart mind, very logical, multiple degrees, right? But I've learned over the years that my mind, my logical mind, can actually be very detrimental if I lead with just that. If I close my heart off, if I close my emotions off and close off to my heart and close off to the higher forces that wants to speak through me, right? When I've learned to integrate both, listen to my intuition, right? As well as use my smart judgment, put that two together, then life expands. But what I want to invite you first into though is to lean into your intuition. If you're feeling your heart expand more, your mind going more into possibilities, like, oh, I'm listening to Jared and I feel more liberated. I feel more like, my God, maybe I can create the body of my dreams. Maybe I can attract the love of my life. Maybe I can do work that fulfills my heart. Maybe I can feel more free, right? I feel more freedom. I can feel this bubbling sensation running inside of me. If you're feeling that right now, right, I want you to listen to that. I'm going to invite you to hear that calling, because those little breadcrumbs that I've listened to in my life has led me to where I am today, right? If I ignore those breadcrumbs, the awakening, all those incredible things would not have happened, right? I would still be stuck. So, last things, comment again. Comment in the section, what are the things that are resonating with you? Okay, what are resonating? What are you most excited for? Secondly, if you are feeling a heart stirring, you want to join hundreds of others who have all transformed their lives, who are all stepping up their game, right? Raising their game, raising their energy, raising their life force, feeling more deeply fulfilled, more joyful, more liberated than ever. Okay, you want to tap into this. And you want someone or a group of community of people to hold you, right? be here and raise your game with you, see you as your most powerful self, send me a message on Instagram, Jared Bruce Lee, or even better yet, go straight in, click on that form, complete it. Literally takes you 5-6 minutes, right? Just like let your heart go, just go there. That can completely change your life. It's changed hundreds of lives. I know that it can change yours too. That's it for now. Follow, subscribe if you got value from this. I'm feeling a lot of energy flowing through me. There's going to be a lot more videos coming through to take you along this journey. I am just getting warmed up. I'm just getting started. We're in for a ride. It's go time.